Beneath the surface of the Atlantic Ocean flows an immense silent force, one that moderates temperatures, stabilizes weather, and sustains life across the globe, the Gulf Stream. It's invisible to the eye, yet its influence touches nearly every corner of our planet. But what happens if it shuts down? In this episode of Doomsday Broadcast, we confront a chilling scientific warning: the potential collapse of the Gulf Stream. A shift so dramatic it could rewrite the climate, reshape economies, and threaten the lives of billions. This isn't a Hollywood script. This is a future that science says may already be in motion. The Gulf Stream is one of Earth's most powerful ocean currents. It begins in the tropical waters of the Gulf of Mexico, flows up the eastern seaboard of North America, and then stretches across the Atlantic toward Western Europe. It acts like a massive conveyor belt, transporting warm, salty water northward and helping distribute heat across the planet. But it doesn't work alone. It's part of a much larger global engine known as the Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation, or AMOC. This system moves warm surface water toward the poles and returns cold, dense water deep beneath the ocean back toward the equator. The AMOC is crucial in keeping Earth's climate stable. It helps balance temperatures between the equator and the poles, moderates seasonal extremes, and drives rainfall patterns from the Amazon to sub-Saharan Africa. Most notably, it keeps Western Europe far warmer than other regions at the same latitude, like parts of Canada. If the Gulf Stream and AMOC weaken or collapse, the results would be catastrophic. Europe could plunge into deep winters. Tropical regions could face intensified droughts and flooding, and the entire northern hemisphere could spiral into weather chaos. Today, the great conveyor belt beneath the Atlantic is faltering. And this isn't part of nature's rhythm. It's the direct result of human activity. Decades of unchecked fossil fuel use have blanketed the atmosphere in greenhouse gases, pushing global temperatures higher than ever before. The ice sheets of Greenland, once frozen and immovable, are melting at an unprecedented rate. Rivers of fresh water now pour into the North Atlantic day after day, and that's where the danger begins. Fresh water is lighter than salt water. It lingers at the surface, interfering with the delicate process that keeps the current alive. Under normal conditions, cold, salty water sinks deep into the ocean, pulling warm water northward in a powerful loop. But as fresh water floods the system, that sinking motion weakens. The engine begins to sputter. What was once a steady, reliable flow starts to slow, and with enough disruption, it can grind to a halt. Scientists across the globe are watching the signs, and many now believe a full collapse could happen not in some distant future, but in the span of a few short decades. The collapse won't be sudden, but its signs are already emerging. Winters across Europe grow colder, longer, and crueler. In London, snow piles up for the first time in a generation. The Seine in Paris freezes solid. Spring arrives late. Crops planted in hope are ruined by cold snaps or drowned in floods. In Germany and France, farmers watch helplessly as once reliable weather turns erratic. Drought one year, deluge the next. Harvests falter. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, the Gulf of Mexico boils. Supercharged by rising sea temperatures, hurricanes swell into monsters, slamming the U.S. East Coast with unprecedented fury. From Miami to Boston, coastal cities brace for a new kind of storm. Larger, wetter, more violent than anything before. The Earth is shifting, and we are only at the beginning. As the ocean current collapses, so too does the balance of life it sustained. The Gulf Stream once carried vital nutrients north, feeding plankton, the base of the marine food chain. Without it, plankton vanish. Fish stocks plummet. Entire fisheries off the coasts of Europe collapse, leaving thousands unemployed, their boats rusting in silent harbors. On land, the situation worsens. Crops fail again and again. Grain stores dwindle. Supermarket shelves are emptied. In city after city, chaos erupts. Riots over bread, looting, lines for aid that stretch for miles. Global food prices spiral out of control. For millions, eating becomes a daily gamble. Governments introduce ration cards. Meat becomes a luxury of the past. In some regions, stray animals become the only source of protein. But the darkest stories come from places far from cameras. Remote villages, forgotten towns. People go missing. Investigators uncover chilling signs, acts born of starvation and madness. Whispers of cannibalism begin to echo through the silence. The world is unraveling, thread by thread. With food supplies dwindling and energy costs soaring, a new crisis emerges. Political collapse. Northern Europe runs low on fuel. Heating bills triple as homes freeze through never-ending winters. Millions can't afford to stay warm or stay fed. Desperate, they flee south. Families, farmers, workers, on foot, in caravans, by any means necessary. Borders slam shut. Fences rise. Tensions boil over between nations. Governments, overwhelmed and unprepared, declare martial law. The streets fill with soldiers. Curfews replace democracy. In the chaos, institutions crack. Trust evaporates. As hunger deepens, violence follows. Looting becomes survival. Neighbors turn on each other. The European Union, once a symbol of unity, begins to fracture, each nation hoarding its last reserves. And in the shadows, the whispers return. Cannibalism, once dismissed as urban legends, now reported from slums and war-torn villages. Proof that when civilization crumbles, humanity teeters on the edge of something darker. As the Gulf Stream collapses, the world's weather spins further out of control. Without the ocean's natural thermostat, the tropics overheat. Southern Europe, once lush with olive groves and vineyards, turns to dust. The skies refuse to rain. Rivers run dry. Agriculture withers. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, chaos brews at sea. Hurricanes erupt in record numbers, bigger, faster, and further north than ever. Cities like New York and Boston become battlegrounds against rising waters. Storm surges drown subways. Skyscrapers go dark. The damage is too frequent, too massive. The insurance industry collapses. There's no money left to rebuild, only to survive. From Europe to America, from droughts to floods, this is the age of extremes, and there's no going back. With fields ruined and oceans emptied, the global economy enters freefall. Food prices soar beyond reach. Gas, electricity, insurance, everything becomes a luxury. Jobs vanish by the millions as industries collapse one after another. Trade routes break down. Ports go quiet. Factories shut their doors. Supply chains disintegrate. Governments pump billions into aid, trying to hold the line. But it's too late. The system was never built for this. A new age begins, defined not by growth, but by survival. Scarcity becomes the new currency. And the world, once fueled by abundance, is now ruled by what little is left. Some scientists warn of an even darker fate, the dawn of a new regional or mini ice age. For millennia, the Gulf Stream kept Europe livable, its warmth shielding the continent from bitter Arctic cold. But without it, that protection vanishes. Snow blankets farmland year-round. Crops fail permanently. Ancient forests freeze where they stand. In the coldest, poorest corners, civilization begins to splinter. Families huddle in ruins. Entire communities fracture into isolated groups, fighting not for land, but for firewood, food, and survival. And once again, the whispers return. Cannibalism. Not myth, not metaphor, but the last resort of people pushed beyond the limits of endurance. Humanity survives. but it is forever changed. The cost of adaptation is steep, and the world that rises from the frost will be unrecognizable. 12,000 years ago, the Gulf Stream weakened, and Europe was plunged into centuries of cold. Now the past knocks on our door once again. If the Gulf Stream collapses, it won't just shift the weather. It will redraw borders, topple nations, and test the limits of human survival. This was Doomsday Broadcast. Subscribe to prepare for the unthinkable. And remember, the end is always closer than it seems.